Did you know that 90% of the world's millionaires invest in real estate? Well, I'm Angel with the Academy Presents Real Estate Investing Rocks, and I'm here to help you if you want to go for your piece of that pie. Hi guys, it's Angel with the Academy Presents Real Estate Investing Rocks, and today I have Anette Talie, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about her journey to financial freedom through real estate. She is actually an architect by career, but she discovered in like the last slowdown prior to this one from COVID that she really needed another vehicle to give her that flexibility of an additional income stream and kind of that buffer, and just it gives you options when you've got a little bit more money coming in. So that was her first foray into real estate there in 2011-ish. 2010, 2011-ish. So what she's doing now, she's actually managing some of her own units, which just blows my mind because I am all over getting a property manager. But she actually manages some of her own stuff. So that is awesome. You know, you're doing a great job. I've never gone that route because it scares me. But she's got the 31 units that she manages. Her own personal units is 12 units, and she's growing that portfolio as well. So congratulations on that move. And if you would just like to tell us a little bit about you, that would be awesome. And then we can kind of move forward from there.
Awesome. All right. So I was born and raised in Peru. And I moved to the US when I was 20 years old. And one of my dreams was to study here in the US, or in a different country, actually. I went to a German school, so I thought that I would go to Germany to study, but I ended up somehow here in the US. So I actually started my architectural career in Peru, and I ended up transferring and finishing here in Florida. So I graduated from architecture, and I started working in architecture, and I really do love architecture. Is one of my passions. I really enjoy working in architecture, but when we had the slowdown in 2008, that really affected the industry. And my husband is an architect as well, so it really affected us from like everywhere. So we decided there, we had to sell a condo that we own, and we got into debt, and it went really bad. So we realized that we couldn't depend on just one source of income, because even though we had two sources of income, they were coming from the same industry. So after a lot of soul searching and a lot of ideas, restaurants, businesses, we realized, and we decided to go with real estate. And up to that point, I really never thought of real estate, even though my family in Peru owns real estate. My stepdad, he's a lawyer, and he owns a lot of real estate. And then on my mom's side, my grandmother, she owned commercial real estate. And I always saw that, I never realized it, but I saw always like the first of the month and the rent collection. I gotta go collect the rent. I gotta get, the checks from the collection. But it really never registered until I started to look for how can I get another stream of income. And so, around, 2009, probably 10, we decided, okay, we got to do something different. And we started investigating, and I started telling people what I wanted to do, just my close friends, because also we were married for a while and we wanted to have kids. And one of my goals was to not have to work full time when I had kids and be able to stay home at least 6 months. And the job that I had, I could only take like, I think 30 days. And so, I was married for a long time, and I waited to have kids. So I didn't really want to go back to work, 30 days after I had a baby. So, through conversations with people, I started talking to people that had real estate. And one of my friends said, my cousin is looking for a property manager for his property. Would you be interested? That could be a way for you to learn. And I'm like, sure. At that point, I was already 7 months pregnant. So I knew that you know, if I wanted to stay home, I needed another source of income. So I took that job, and I had no idea about property management. And you were talking about fear, you know, I was so fearful, but at the same time, I knew that they knew I didn't have any experience, you know, so I was comfortable with that, because I think it's okay to not know things, but you need to be able to ask questions, and you need to be able to just follow instruction. You know, like some people think that they know everything, and then they don't listen to other people, and then they don't grow. So that's one, I think, of my superpowers, that I am not scared to ask questions. And, you know, I just, whatever I had, I asked, and I took notes, and then I was able to apply it. So that job allowed me to stay home for 9 months with my baby,
Well,
because
that's
I was able,
awesome.
yeah, I was able to move my schedule. And we were doing full-blown renovations on this building that this investor acquired. So I was doing
Wow.
rentals, management, renovation, buying of materials, managing the staff that was doing the construction. So it was very involved, but at the same time, I was able to, you know, go to the property. And then I was breastfeeding for 1 year, so I was able to take breaks. And you know, that's so important, because I went to the office, I would have to, you know, pump
Yeah.
and, you know, be away from my baby. And so, you know, it made it, it was a lot of work, but I was learning so much
Yeah. Well,
at
and
the
I guess
same time.
I hadn't really thought about it too. Being an architect and being in architecture, you could probably handle the construction side of things.
Yes.
And so it was more learning the like the leasing and the other pieces, but you really had 50% of it under control.
Yeah, so I was used to working with large projects in architecture. So in architecture, I focus on hotels and five-star hotels and resorts and country clubs. So it's hospitality. So, but you know, when you are dealing at that level, you are dealing with owners reps, and you are dealing with a contractor. So in this case, yes, I knew the process, but I haven't dealt with like doing it myself. So it was also a learning experience for me to just handle everything. And all that knowledge that I had of construction administration from my job definitely helped me. And you know, I did the drawings myself, and I was able to design the apartments. So it was definitely, you know, being an architect is definitely an asset to an investor. And that was an asset to the property, to the investor, to hire me, because I was able to do all this. He didn't need to hire a GC necessarily to handle the construction.
Wow. So what because you're multifamily,
Yes.
when you're looking to purchase an apartment complex, are you looking at like class C or class B? What do you usually focus in?
So my focus is always been C-class properties. I look at B also, but to me, I always liked C-class, because it's working people, it's people that will rent for a while.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not all of them will end up buying a property, so you have a big pool of people that will rent for a long time. So I like the fact that, you know, if you find a good tenant in a C class, they are going to stay there for years, unless you know, you want them to leave, you don't want to renew. But I had, you know, I had good tenants that they ended up buying a property, but from 100% of my tenants, I would say that only 20% end up buying. The other move outs maybe because they moved to a different city, or, you know, but the people that stay, they don't stay for 1 year, they stay for 3, 4, 5 years renting. And that really cuts your cost on apartment turnovers, you know, and fixing to rent again. So I really do like the C class. um, you know, if you rent to A or B, you're going to have a bigger percentage of people that will end up buying a property and moving out. And it may be just 1 to 2 years.
Yeah, I hadn't even like I never even thought about it like that.
Yep. So that's why. And when I started with duplexes, and it was the same point of, you know, having diversity, right? Like if you buy a house, if the tenant leaves and you have like 1 month of no rent, then your entire income is gone. But even with a duplex, at least you have like 50% of your income still coming if one leaves. And if you get a fourplex, then you have only 25% gone, and the rest you still have. So I started with duplexes, and once I got to the third duplex, I realized that I needed something bigger, and that's when I started working towards larger multifamily, and that has been my goal in the past year already.
Yeah, my husband's family, they do these smaller multis, and they've actually got 62 units of like duplexes and quads, and we started in single family homes, and so I absolutely feel the pain of a single family home is empty. It is 100% empty, and there was a point in time where we had 2 single family homes empty, and we were carrying 3 mortgages for a long period of time, like 6 months, and it just sucked.
Yes.
There's no other way to say it. It just sucked.
Yeah,
So,
you have to try to diversify, and that's kind of like my goal right now. Like I have all this going on, but now I don't want to rely only on real estate either, so I'm looking for other sources of income to get to financial freedom, which is the goal. I am I'm not I have dreams of you know buying a boat and buying a beach house and all that, but my goal right now is just to replace my income so that I can have the choice that if I want to work, I keep working, and if I don't, I don't. So it's kind of being able to accommodate my schedule to be more present with my kids. Like I would, I want to be on all her recitals, and I want to be on her activities, and I want to take her to the library after school. So having a flexible schedule allows you to do that.
well, and I kind of hit that too. We have been able to replace my income from when I was a teacher, and we actually had replaced it, and I kept teaching because I just love teaching. I love my students, and that's kind of one of my, I guess, one of my sub goals with all of this is that I want to help teachers see that they can invest in real estate too. Yeah, our salaries are quite meager, but you don't have to have 30, 40, $50,000 to get into real estate. And
Right.
so I'm hoping to be able to reach out to teachers and get them some residual income as well, just because when you don't feel like you have any options, it's hard, and it makes
Yes,
going to work just treachery because you don't feel like you have
absolutely.
any options.
Right. And it changes your mindset also. Like if you like your job like you do and I do, the days that you work, that you really enjoy it. Like I love, well, right now we're working from home, but I loved going to the office and like talking to adults and not, you know, being with the kids all day long. But then I love coming home and spending the days that I don't work at the office, spending them with my kids. So you're kind of like enjoying everything that you're doing. So it's kind of cool to have that option and not be attached to something that you don't really enjoy. And that's, I think, the main goal, the flexibility and the options, having those options.
Yeah, that's probably my main goal, not just for teachers, but for everybody, because I know that as a teacher, I had a completely different outlook on work because I knew that that wasn't the only way that we had money coming in. And so it gave me a little more freedom in my classroom, and I still teach college, but it's online. But it gave me some freedom in my classroom because I knew that if worse came to worse, I could, you know, get
Quit.
out. Which is ultimately what I did in February. It was actually, I went out on medical, but the stress of the job was just killer.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one of my goals with the podcast, Real Estate Deal Closers, education. Because when I started, I started with one duplex, which was awesome. I didn't start with like a single family, um, but I do know people that are crushing it with single families. But I started with the duplex, but I started by myself, and I had these investors that were my mentors, and they gave me so much info, but it was still by myself. And I continued to buy duplexes. And when actually, when I was on my third duplex, 6 units, I decided, I need to get educated and I need to learn different ways to acquire property, because the first one I bought it cash. The second one I saved money for the down payment. And then I realized, okay, I don't have any more money. Like, how can I acquire the next property? And I started exploring different options like a HELOC and private money and hard money. And so that opened up my eyes to a lot. And I learned the most once I joined a mastermind, and I started to hearing from other investors all the strategies that they were doing. So the goal of my podcast was to help people learn all these strategies that people are doing and how they did it. So we do a deep dive into one deal, and so each episode is a different deal, and we talk about the process, how they found the deal, how they found it, what were the negotiations, what they learned about it, so that new investors and seasoned investors that maybe are focusing on one thing, they can move to a different strategy. So that was the main goal of the podcast, and I really enjoy myself learning from other investors what they are doing. So every time that I have a question like how do you do that, like I added to the podcast, because I learned so much as well from
I
them.
feel so selfish sometimes because I pull people on because it's stuff I want to learn about.
But if it's stuff that you want to learn, I am sure that there is so many other people that want to learn as well. So it really, helps everybody. And so I have also every 5 episodes, I have a special edition where we talk about a subject, and it's not just the deal, because, people were asking, how do you invest in notes? That's one of the next ones that is going to be coming up soon. And I had no idea about note investing until 6 months ago. And
That one blew my mind when I started learning about
yes,
that. I
and
was
it's
like,
you can get into real estate with so little money. And I think the next year is going to be a big year for note investing once we start seeing foreclosures and forbearance periods that end. So
that's why I'm trying to learn about sub 2, because I think
mhm.
sub 2 is going to blow up too.
Yes. So, I mean, all these strategies, like, I didn't know anything about all this when I started investing. So I only did what I could, like save money until I could buy something, and then save money until I could, save a down payment. And then I realized, how long is going to take me? It took me like 2 years to save this money. How long is going to take me for the next one? Now, I have kids now, I have more expenses. So that's when I started learning other strategies. And I can see my growth in the last year from just joining one mastermind and then connecting with all these people that we can, we get together once a week and we talk real estate. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I can pick up the phone and call people, how are you doing this, like show me what you're doing. It's amazing.
Well, that's
Networking.
something I've learned too, is that and coming from teaching, people shelter what they know a lot in the teaching field. Some will share, but it's just different. And so we moved into the real estate investing space, and it was like all of a sudden there's all these people that want to help. And it's like, what the heck? Why would you want to help me? Why wouldn't you want to keep all that knowledge for yourself? But the community is just, it's so free with what they know, because it's that abundance mindset where you realize that the table's huge and we can all eat. There's plenty for everyone.
And that was one thing that it took me a little bit of time to digest as well. That people are willing to help, and in the same token, like you should do the same. Like in architecture also, it depends, I guess, on the culture of the office where you work. But in the office where I work, a lot of people don't want to share what they know, because they feel that if they share what they know, then they are not going to have somebody's going to replace them, right?
Or you're going to steal their job or something. Yeah,
exactly. So it took me a while to realize that that's not, that if you have an abundance mindset, you are going to get as much as you're going to give, and the more you give, the more you get. So and that there is enough for everybody. That took a little bit of time to to sink in, and I'm still working on being more of a giver, right? Because we are used to this mentality that like, if you know it, like keep it, because otherwise somebody's going to steal it. But what I have learned, that the more I share with people, the more people are willing to share with me as well.
Yeah, that's my husband and I actually have this talk often, because we can see in each other where we still have scarcity mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird stuff. So like for me, I don't know, I have got so many clothes that I probably never need another piece of clothing in my life. I've got everything from like size 4 to size 20. I mean, I've got it covered. But anytime I go somewhere and they have a free shirt, I always get one or two, or I get one for the whole family. So I come home with 6 shirts, 7 shirts. I mean, and that's like some weird scarcity mindset I have, that if I don't get that shirt, somebody else is going to get it. So like every time I volunteer at an event or whatever, I come home with shirts, and my husband thinks it's the weirdest thing.
all those shirts end up in my husband's stack for doing the lawn.
I need to do some, I don't know, I need to do something with them, but it's really funny,
Yeah,
because then you can pick those things out in one another.
Yeah, and sometimes I see that when my husband says, let's do something, I'm like, oh no, we don't have money for that. And then I'm like, wait, we do have the money to do it. Like, why do I automatically think that, right? So I am working on I work really hard in real estate, and besides my job, besides being a mom, and so I am allowing myself to spend that money with my kids. One of the reasons to get into real estate was to have that financial freedom, but at the same time to enjoy time with the family. So one of my goals in my vision board for the year was vacation time with the family, and I put it in my mirror, and so I can see it every day. And that when we took a vacation actually last weekend, and I was like so excited, because once you put it down and you put it in a vision board, or you write it down, like things start happening. And it just takes that little bit of time where you sit down and you dream of what you want to get and where you want to get, and then it happens.